Hi everyone, I'm starting a new project today. It's a new year, Happy New Year to all of you. And I'm working with a new kit called the Elephants Mega Kit. There's 38 papers, so let me show you them quickly. There's some tags in large, there's ones in medium and small, a whole range of tags. These are the digital papers, so they're really pretty colours, lots of really lovely images. There's some colouring pages. These are the Whale Tail page tabs, some hearts and circles, and some more there. There's some coin envelopes. So 2 smaller ones and 1 large one. And then this is, I've just printed 9 pages per sheet to give me some postcards. So that's the kit. And as an added bonus with this kit, there's some extra papers. So there's 13 bonus pages. These would be great as journal pages or to use for anything really that you wanted to make. Great on the back of tags and things like that. So there's 13 there, so 51 pages in total in the kit. And what I'm going to do today is I'm using file folders. I've got these grey file folders. These are the Pendaflex folders. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a journal that will have a double-sided journal that would fold upon itself. And so I've got started a little bit just by making some marks. So my 2 file folders together are going to overlap, and I'm going to have a front cover and a back cover, so that will flip up to make a journal on this side and a journal on that side, and it will all fold together. And because I'm using the file folders, that will give me pockets as well to tuck big things in. So I've made some marks on this just in working it all out. My papers, when I fold them in half, are printed in A4 size, and when I fold them in half, they need, that gives me 5 7/8, close to. I'm giving it 6.5 because I want to use some of the page tabs that I've included. So I'm making a 6.5 inch score and then a 3/4 inch spine on this cover. And then there'll be 6.5 inches, that will be the back cover. And then I've got a 1.5 inch spine on this side, which will give me, when it's all folded over, that will give me another 3/4 inch of space to add things to. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to score everything up and make a decision about whether I want the front and back covers to have side pockets or top pockets. And I'll also added some double-sided tape for the overlap. So these 2 will join together and overlap. And then I've also just made a little pencil mark up here so that when I fold it, the tabs will be equal. And I've used, the file folders I've used come in, so that's how they come when you buy them. You've got the tab at the top, in the middle and the bottom. I'm keeping the middle one, which I'll cut out and use. So I've just basically put the two tabs together that will sort of join, so that when they overlap I can join them to make that one tab, so that the back of the journal will have this higher page, and when it folds over like that, that will be a pocket. So I've just worked out and drawn a line there just to trim that extra little bit of tab off, so that my pocket will be evenly spaced from the side. So I'm going to score everything and join these two together, and I'll be back. Here's the base of the journal now. So I've joined these two file folders together with, in my case, a 1.5 inch overlap. And with the file folder closed, I've scored 6.5 inches, which is the width that I want for my paper. So 6.5 inches with the 3/4 inch spine just here. And I've scored 6.5 inches from this side with a 1.5 inch spine. That leaves me a nice big full-size pocket at the back, and then when I fold the journal up, you'll have, when I've got the signatures in, you'll have this 3/4 inch full of signatures, and then this top part of this one 3/4 inch in. That also gives me two large pockets, probably from the top in my case. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just looking at this large pocket. I did need to trim a little bit just to level the file folders off. So I want to cover this back bit to hide the seam, and also to reinforce these two spines. And so I've taken just a piece of scrap paper and I've cut it the width that's going to fit in between these two. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue that inside and level that to the top, so that it covers the spine on both sides. And then when you peek inside the pocket, you're going to see the little elephants. And the other thing I'm going to do is this top of this pocket here, I need to cover the back on the inside, because you can see just that, where that little bit of sticky tape is, just from gluing the two file folders together. I've got my spare file folder, and what I thought I'd do is cut a piece and have it the width of this pocket, so that it's a flip up, and that will give me an extra sturdy page, a feature page that I can add some stronger elements to, and also a place to hide journaling in the back. So to do that, I'm just going to cut this file folder on the fold line. And then my pocket width, it should be 6.5. I'll cut it at 6.5, and then that will give, I've left these pre-creased parts on it, that will be able to fold over. I'll probably crease that on the second, just leave one fold free, so that will tuck over there. But then I don't want the sides to, when it's folded up, I don't want this to be the full width. So I'm just going to take probably 1/4 inch off there. I'm just cutting most of the way up on both sides. And then I'm just going to use my blade and just taper. So if I cut it to the same height, let me just get that right. So I'm just going to taper from that first fold line down, and just marking that there. So I'm just going to cut that up that little bit more, and then I'm just going to taper just a rough so just from that top point down to there. So that will reinforce that pocket all the way across. And then at the moment, if I put that in, that's the full length. So I'm just going to leave that. So I'll glue that in. Just making sure I've got that centered. So that's covered that little sticky part there and reinforced that. That's now a flip up, and I can do what I need with the bottom half of that. I don't mind that as it is. And then I want to glue this little piece in all the way across there. So I want this to be hitting that spine, just right on that spine, level along the top, and then just make sure, yep, that's pretty good. And then with my blade, I can just trim off these excess bits. And then just that little tiny bit, trim it off. And I should have let it dry, but then we'll work it out. Okay. And so now just while that's still damp, just reinforce that, the spine where that's been glued in, and the same on this side. So now I've got a flip up section where I can hide things and add things to that, and I've got that pocket reinforced. But what I thought I could do at this point is glue these two spines down really well and let them dry, and then if I need to, when I fold it in, you can probably see it more on this one, I might need to reinforce that score line and just trim a little bit off that front. I'm just going to use Art Glitter glue for that. Okay, so I'm just making sure that this middle pocket is sitting nice and flush. And then just really burnish that spine down. and just reinforce those score lines, and then give that glue probably 5 minutes or so to really dry and stay strong. Let that dry and then come back and think about what I'm going to do with the sides and the pockets. An option I've thought of is you could also have, before you glue down the side, if you wanted to have part of it flip out, you could always just put a score line in there, and while this is still open you could add a part that flips out, which I might do because that's the perfect size, and it's also got the tabs on it, so that could be a nice flip out on the front cover. So why don't I do that? So I'm just going to add a 3/4 of an inch score on that. And then that can become a flip out, so I'm just going to glue that on. So that if I did want to have that as a side pocket, that's also just reinforced that, which is what I might do on this part. So for this side pocket, I'm just going to add some double-sided tape on this top part here. Just inside that part there. Peel that layer off and add, I'm just adding the art glitter glue just above and below that tape, and just keeping this all nice and flat, just pushing that down, giving it a bit of a burnish. So that gives me a side pocket, and that will be the front cover of the journal. So it'll have that side pocket there with that flip out. And for the back cover, I've cut a piece, sorry, the other front cover, I've cut a piece that's the same width as this pocket and added that in here. So this will be the inside front cover, and I've done the same thing. I've just given it a little bit of a 3/4 inch score and glued that on, and then I will, for this one, what I'll do is I'm going to put glue on the top and the bottom, and I'm going to make that a tuck spot. I might, just before that dries, just take a little chomp out, just use a little punch just to take a little notch out. And then just fold that down. So that's the side pocket there with a flap. That will be the front cover of the journal, and then this will be the inside cover, and it's got a little tuck spot, and when that dries I will also glue down this side and make that so that this side will have that a top tuck there. Just lifting that up to pop the tape in. And then just add some glue on top and along that side edge. And again, just making sure that that stays nice and flat here, and really just give that some time to dry. So that's the finished base. So you've got that front cover that flips out with a flap, and that's got the side pocket, and then the other front cover flips out, it's got a tuck spot with a top pocket there when that dries, and you've got a flip up part in the back. At this point for the closure on this one, I just want to do a wraparound tie closure that's not attached to the journal, but if you wanted to, you could always attach ribbon, glue it across there and around the top and the back and have it tying on. I don't want to do that, but this would be the time to think about that.